Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glen, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both a match attending and international supporters view. We don't have Glen today as he's currently away with his wife in Fraser Island in Queensland. And instead I welcome Josh. Josh, how you doing?
Hey, hello. I know I only got the call up today, but I've been well hard in training, and I'm ready. It's the special Graham Spice birthday episode today. Happy birthday, Graham! Yay! Happy birthday, Graham! Yeah.
So what I thought for recording today, we'll focus on the FA Cup game on Sunday, and we won't cover too much about the Liverpool game. And I think I owe it to Glen, given that we were exchanging notes on it all through the game, to do that when he gets back. He would be gutted if I left him out of that one. So in addition to Josh, we also have a guest this evening, which is Dominic O'Reirdan. So he's here from Warwickshire Official Spurs Supporters Club, which he founded, and previously he'd run the Amsterdam Spurs Supporters Club, which is where we first met. So Dominic, how are you?
Absolutely great. Yes, whole day in Warwickshire today. Gearing up for Sunday at Tamworth. Isn't so far away for us, actually. So it's we've got some members going up there for a very few amount of tickets that we could, or anyone could get. A Midlands club. So yeah, it's great, but cold.
Did pretty well to get tickets. I think it was $650 total, including the concessions and stuff. So yeah,
we have some members who have a lot of ticketing points. So I think somewhere leading up there.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I worked it out that if the fixture was reversed, the ticket allowance for Tamworth would have been 1.5 times the size of their stadium.
Well,
yeah.
And what an opportunity, right? I mean, these guys, what a glory tie for those guys. I mean, they've done well. They're obviously playing well. And they've got a Premier League club coming to them. What a great opportunity.
Indeed. And we will learn a bit more about Tamworth in a minute. I've done my homework. So, Dominic, why Spurs for you?
So, I was born in Canterbury in Kent, but from age of 3 or 4 lived in North London, Bounds Green to be exact. It was a strange journey to supporting Tottenham for me, and in fact, when I was younger, there's pictures of me in Swansea City and Liverpool shirts, but that was late 80s, early 90s, right? My mum worked for a very long time, just round the corner of Bruce Grove. Abertworth Arms was the pub that they used to go to at lunch where they were teaching. My mum was a special needs teacher. Spent a lot of time there when I was younger, on half terms where she was working and I was sort of sitting around waiting for mum to stop working and that kind of thing. But later on, when I was going into university, I was at the University of Wales, in Aberystwyth, west coast of Wales. There was some folks there that they were really into watching the football, and I was as well. So I went and watched some games, and obviously being so local to Tottenham, being born and bred, I watched. Well, was watching those guys. A little bit later on, when I was at university, I did a year in industry, and I went to Washington DC. We were wearing a Tottenham shirt. It was Holston on the front. I think it was probably whatever we had in 2001. It was white, obviously white shirt, Holston on the front. And I went into a bar right next to the White House in DC. I walked in there. I didn't notice at the time, but it was a diplomatic bar. I walked in there, and there's a lot of diplomats from all kinds of countries. And someone sort of shouted at me, the wine word. Right, shouted me directly across the bar, and they came and bought me a beer, and it turned out he was working at the embassy in Washington DC.
Oh wow!
And another time I was there, went up to a bar in Adams Morgan, which is the north part of Washington DC, and the guy came over to me and said, "Oh, nice shirt, mate." I turned around and said, "Yeah, thank you. I'm from North London." He goes, "Where are you from?" So I was like, Bounds Green. I said, "Well, so I'm from Muswell Hill, very close." I said, "So where do you go to school?" And then about 10 seconds later, I was a year above you in primary school. So it's a really bizarre kind of set of circumstances that seems to bring Spurs fans together. I moved to Amsterdam a little bit later, 2007, and got involved in Amsterdam Spurs, a great supporters club over there. And in fact, that's Graham, how I met you. Also, we worked at some similar companies, but that aside, we've all bumped into each other, and that's really kicked off for me again. So that's been some time. I came to it a little late, perhaps. My dad wasn't a football fan, my mum wasn't a football fan, but I'm from the area. I worked in Tottenham, worked in Tottenham Hale before. So it kind of, in my international travels, sort of pulled me back into Tottenham. So yeah, that's kind of how we're fit.
It's kind of a tie back to home, isn't it? A bit, I think. I've felt the same. I really, I mean, I'd always been a supporter, but certainly when I was abroad, I always felt like it was my link back to home, at least.
Yeah, I think sometimes you need that little bit of a pull back home, something to make you feel comfortable. Amsterdam is not so different, of course. Living in DC, as I did, that was very different.
Yeah.
And it was great to have a tie back. And it was just sometimes really cool to have people in DC saying, look, Spurs fans, it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah. So talk to us a bit more about the supporters clubs. So you've obviously now been involved with the international and the UK-based one. So what's the big differences between running them in different countries, and what was the real challenge?
Yeah. So I think there's a very different perspective on running supporters clubs or being involved in supporters clubs wherever you are, right? I mean, I look at supporters clubs in, say, the US or in Asia versus the UK. Imagine you're in San Diego. So a chap called Ben Foreman, he was, I think he still is, the chairman of San Diego Spurs. Imagine you've got an early kickoff, on a Saturday. It's 4:30 in the morning. You have to be in the bar. And these guys are getting people down there, and very similar to your conversation about Colorado Spurs before. They're getting people down there at very early in the morning. Maybe they've only gone to bed 4 or 5 hours earlier. Massive commitment. And also, they don't get to go to the stadium very much because it's so far away. Equally, in Asia, it's the other way around, of course. Time difference is a big problem. When I used to run Amsterdam Spurs, people tended to go to the stadium a lot more often. It was an hour away.
Yeah.
Hour at Stansted, and
I've seen a lot of them at the stadium.
Yeah, right. And these guys could get there a lot more easily. I moved to England inadvertently. It wasn't really my plan, but I ended up moving to England about 3 or 4 years ago, and I had no mates because I didn't expect to live here. I started a supporters club because I had the contacts at Tottenham from the Amsterdam gig that I did. Now we started with 5 members. It was my girlfriend, who doesn't really watch football, my daughter, who was 3 at the time, and a couple of other folks I found on Twitter. We're now, we've got 190 people on our email list, and we've got 125 people signed up. So we've really grown in those 3 years. But the difference really is there that many, many people go to every game. I think we're amongst the biggest registered supporters clubs in the UK. There's people that have big clubs, but we've got a lot of people that go very often. And we're sending, 30 to 50 people to each match. And that's a massive difference between a UK club and a foreign club, because distance is a problem for the foreign guys, whereas we go to all of them. But equally, if you watch a game in these foreign clubs, home or away, the pub will be full, right? Because they go every game in, they go to every game in a pub, right? Which is fantastic. And people often say, foreign supporters can't love it as much as we do. But when they've got 100 people in a pub for an early kickoff in San Diego, it's a question that, whether our dedication's enough versus them. I mean, they're doing great. Right? We might send 30 or 40 people, 50 people to a game, but they're up at very early times to watch Stoke away. I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's a very different dynamic, and respect is due to all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been lucky enough to watch games with quite a few of the international supporters clubs, and for me, it's always a great atmosphere. There's a lot of quite knowledgeable people. I think a lot of them know more about, statistically, certainly the American ones especially, they love their statistics. But I always find it really interesting, just bumping into people that and to find out the stories behind how they ended up supporting Spurs. Some of them are, it's one of the things I liked, why I like to ask the question here when we do have people on. It's some real varied answers. So the other thing I was going to mention is, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, you shared a video with me, which is one of the videos that the club put out, which was part of their promotion for the second series of Squid Game, which I believe you were part of. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Squid Games 2 was obviously released, I think it was on Boxing Day. And I think it's the biggest international show that Netflix have ever done. And Spurs, as we all know, somehow got involved. Now, I am a chairperson, as they might say, of a supporter club in Warwickshire. We were asked, would we be willing to do an event at the training ground? Yes or no? And we had to reply. And when we replied, we were then sent an NDA. And the NDA basically was between us and Tottenham Hotspur. And the NDA stated, we can't share information, what we're doing, that kind of thing. And we had to sign this document, which was fine. Many people in a WhatsApp group received this, and we were all super excited. We didn't know what it was. And from that point, we all, of course, signed the NDA because it said, you get to go to the training ground. And when we got the NDA, it said, you might be injured by playing football. So we thought, this is really cool. Who are we going to play football with? But we didn't really ever play football. And we signed the NDA. We got sent an email saying that actually you're going to get involved in Squid Games. Now, I didn't really know what this was, but we were told that it was about playing red light, green light, which apparently is one of the games. So I watched the first season, first episode, where a lot of people get killed. So we had a look at it. I had a look at it, and I watched it the day before. And then drove down to Enfield, to the training ground, and we saw the big doll in the main indoor training. I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And then we got to play the game, which was really good fun. It's not very football, and it's not very Spursy. Spurs, I don't know. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of people can say, there used to be a football club over there, and etc. etc. But the people that went to play this game were the people that put a lot of effort into either supporting Spurs or enabling the support of Spurs.
Yeah.
So chairman of clubs and organisers of things that only really help other people, right? I mean, I try and ensure that I can get tickets for kids to go to the game and their parents, and people get onto the pitch as flag bearers. And that's what we do. And of course, us chairmen got the opportunity to go to the training ground, so all said yes. And yes, it's not very football, and yes, people can say, there used to be a football club over there. But it was really great fun. And we got to play this game, and I made an absolute fool of myself. Because I was playing this game, running up and down this bit, and as you might know, I'm not the most athletic of individuals, but there I was trying to get to the end of the pitch without getting shot. I got shot twice out of 3 times, so I definitely died. And the video on the Spurs website, I went down spectacularly, but it was really good fun. It was an interesting day because Dominic O'Reirdan on his Instagram posted a picture of some of us doing it, which then that picture magically got taken away. And he deleted it because he was told to, I think. But yeah, we had Archie Gray and Will Hampshire and Alfie Whiteman, these kind of things. They played with us. It was just great fun. Not very football. People will complain about it, but you know what? It was a great event. It was a great event.
I think we're certainly expanding outside of just pure football, and I think the club as a whole is doing as much as it can to generate more interest and revenue from outside of just football as well, right? And as long as it all goes into the coffers and that gets spent in some way on the club, ideally on the field, then I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's a bit of fun and that no harm done.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about how it gets back into the pub. A lot of people sort of think about it just being the football elements, and that's right to a huge degree. But it's very difficult to be able to go and spend the kind of money you need to do on transfer fees if you don't have the backing infrastructure and the backing spend and support for the rest of it. And you know what? Yeah, there were 3 players, 26 and under, that got involved, and a bunch of us middle-aged guys that went and run up and down a pitch badly for a day. So what, right? It was good fun. It was good fun, and I hope people see the good fun.
Yeah, just for Christmas, when you got the end there, for a moment I thought you were all getting trials. We were so desperate for players. You might have got a game over Christmas.
I tell you what, if Spurs ever had to come to me, I mean, my 10-second sprint would be about a couple of minutes. So I don't think it's worth it.
Just need you to be in the right place for a corner. That's hit the box. Get your head on it. Cool. Oh, well, I'm glad we heard some of that. Appreciate it, Dominic. So what I really wanted to do this evening was to talk more about the Tamworth match. So I did a little bit of research. So because obviously you didn't know very much about Tamworth at all. I think, as you said, Dominic, then they're kind of, I think it's Staffordshire, right? So they're sort of above Birmingham, but sort of equidistant between their Stoke and Leicester-y sort of area. Been in the club since 1933. The Lamb Ground is the stadium. Club are nicknamed the Lambs, I guess, because of that. And the ground's name is derived from a pub nearby. So they're in the National League, right? And I worked out that they're 80 league positions below us in the football pyramid. So they don't seem to be doing that well in the league. They're kind of like bottom half, I think. So this
16th, I believe.
Sorry?
16th, I believe.
Yeah. Well, everything tells you that this should be a easy win, but as we know, this is the FA Cup, and this is the kind of game that throws up things like previous killings that we've suffered ourselves and others. So, Josh, any thoughts on this?
I think we also need to make note of the next game after that being the North London derby. So, my views are: rest everyone. I hope the bench reclines. Give some players a nap. That'd be great. Just anyone that won't start against Arsenal can play. I think give Mikey Morse some minutes, Min Hyuk some that should play the under-23s team. I don't mind anyone. Dig them out of the crowd. Get Ange to put his boots on.
It is a good point. I mean, the issue we've had obviously is that the lack of rotation because of all the injuries that we've had, and there aren't a lot of options in some areas of the pitch, like in defence. Look, I guess you've got Dorrington that could come in as a centre-back, but he seems to have been reluctant to really bring him on. The other thing that worries me about this game is it's Astro pitch as well. So he's unlikely to risk anyone coming back from injury, I don't think, because no one wants to have a jarring match on an Astro pitch.
Didn't know that.
The other thing that I don't know very much about them as a team. I can run through the games that they've had to get here. They've done really well, actually. So they started with the fourth qualifying round. They beat Macclesfield 4-2. The next one, the first round proper, they beat Huddersfield 1-0. And then the last round, they beat Burton Albion on penalties. So they've had a pretty... That's some scalps for a team in the National League. I also hear that they're quite a physical team, and they have a part-time guy. I can't remember what his name is now, but he is like a Roy Delap throwing specialist, which I'm really worried about because it's the kind of thing that we've been struggling with all season: corners and those kind of dead ball.
It probably comes back to the set piece management, right?
Yeah, or the lack of. Yeah.
If we can't manage set pieces against Tamworth, then I think we've got some real big problems.
Well, I don't think the opposition's ever been the issue. I think we've never
our own inability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I guess the thing is that whilst he's done a good job, Gray's not the biggest. Dragosin's a bit of a lump.
Even
But
6'2"?
What? Gray?
Archie Gray is 60. I thought he was like 5'8".
Really?
I thought he was
I'll
like
tell you what, here's the thing from the Squid Games thing I went to, right? I'm 5'11", I'm also 5'11" round, right? So I'm a bit of a strange shaped man. But nonetheless, I looked at these kids and they were like hugely tall, right? I mean, we were, they were tall guys. They were tall
Is it
guys.
just because you think you only ever see them next to other tall footballers that they all...
Well, maybe it's also because I'm with the fifth, West tier, my season ticket's West tier upper, right? I'm looking down at them, right? They look so short, but they were big. They were tall. They were tall
in the top tier as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they were tall. I mean, one of the things I heard this morning, and that was a tall sport thingy, was the pitch apparently is ever so slightly is plastic or whatever you call it now, but also slightly downhill.
Really?
Yeah, apparently slightly downhill. I might be mistaken, but if it is,
How the hell do you have an artificial pitch and have it on a...
I don't know. That's what I heard today. But I might be completely wrong. But
it's just
the most fake league thing ever. I love it. I love
all
it.
I hear is ankle, knee, hip, hamstrings,
face on the ground.
Yes.
It's just the coin flip means something now. When you play Sunday League as a kid, it's always which end do you want? Because you don't want the sun in your eyes, or you want to go downhill. Oh, this is very off topic, but when I used to play football, do you remember Graham was the coach of my football team when I was a kid? And we played one team once on the side of a hill. I don't know if we went back multiple times. I think we did, but it was unbelievable. You had to hike up the pitch. So every coin flip was crucial because you always wanted downhill in the second half.
So what you're saying is, I don't care about the leadership qualities of the captain on Sunday, but we need someone who's incredibly lucky.
Yeah, exactly. You want downhill in the second half.
Yeah, or has got a third lung.
Yeah, the guns.
So just looking at, we talked a little bit about what kind of team we expect them to put out, but you're right, Josh. I think the thing is, I think we will make changes because with an eye on the North London derby. So I would expect, if not starting, I would expect more, maybe Lancashire to get some game time, especially with Solanke having played a lot over Christmas period. He could probably do with a bit of a breather. Maybe Yan Ming Hook to get a start, or at least to get some minutes as well. Would be good to see him. I wouldn't be surprised if Reguilon played, just to get again, because maybe to give either Jess Spence or Porro a breather, so one of them could sit on the bench, and then of course Sarah Madison come back from suspension after the cup suspension they had, so they're there as options as well. I really would like to see Kulusevski have a rest. He looked absolutely off his feet on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it was. I've lost track. Every day since Christmas Day has merged into one big block, and then some. I don't know if it's fitness or just exhaustion or just lack of form. But Son also hasn't. I don't think he's played well in the last few games. I just think he's tired. So maybe that's another option where he gets swapped out. So we could be seeing Werner still, or maybe Mikey Moore instead of him. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But I don't think he'll make as many changes as we would probably expect, because I don't think he will want to lose, but also he'll probably want to protect a few players for the league game, the North London derby in the week. Well, do you know what else would be really interesting though? Is who goes in goal? Because now we've got options, right? Lots of them.
I think it'll be Kinski, because I think he'll play the North London derby, and because he's not been in this whirlwind of playing every game, I think he'll want Kinski to get extra minutes to prepare for the North London derby. I think he'll start that too. So I just don't see how it is going to be Austin or Forster. He might pick Forster out of like pity a little bit, but I don't think it would just make the most sense to put Kinski in goal because he's going to play. He's just arrived. He needs as many minutes as he can to prepare. It will only do him good. He's only playing a goal. It's not like he's running for the midfield or anything.
That does make sense. But
what do we think about Austin's debut?
Well, this is the thing as well. I felt bad for him, right? Because the same day that he made his full debut for Tottenham in the first team was the day that Kinski was having his medical. So, it was unfortunate because he played really well in that game. I actually thought the way that he played suits Angie's football better than Forster's does. In that, better with his feet, he had better distribution, and also we mixed it up a bit as well. So it wasn't just the short pass. When Newcastle were pressing the centre backs and that ball wasn't on, he was chipping the ball up to sort of like Solanke, so we mixed it up a bit, which we haven't really done. We've been fairly consistent in either playing out or playing ourselves into trouble through the defence.
So maybe he was a little Kinski-esque, pre-Kinski.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought I liked. We're obviously not going to cover the Liverpool game in detail, but I thought he had a really good game for a first game. 3 days in the door. He looked very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Like,
did you ever have your heart in your mouth? I must admit, I did once.
Like where he chipped was it Diaz?
Yeah, there was a couple of moments of like, oh, do we need to do this? I'm not so sure, but
yeah, the kid's got confidence in himself, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really pleased.
Maybe one way of looking at this is like Austin's, been there, 8 years or so, maybe longer.
Yeah.
His first debut was last week. He gets man of the match. Perhaps one way to look at it is, what a great servant he's been, because he's clearly been there in the background all the time as a fullback, and he comes on and he smashes it. Well played.
I think what will be interesting, the thing that now happens is that we have a squad challenge, especially for Europe, because if we bring Kinski into the Europa League squad, which we can do now, I think we can make 3 changes to the squad.
Yeah.
If we bring him in, we lose. We have either Forster, Austin, or Whitman has to go out the squad, because we've got currently 4 goalkeepers in the squad, including Vicario. So we'll lose another English one probably. So then we don't have the required number, and we lose a squad. And you lose one of the players we can have in the squad. We go down from 25 to 24, I think it is. So, but then also I would suggest that we probably need to bring Jed Spence in as well, because we need another defender in the squad, and we haven't had anyone really to cover Udogie on that side since Ben Davis got injured. So those are the only ones I can think of. Apart from that, I don't know what other changes they'd make. But then I don't know I don't know whether that affects us next year as well. I think squad balance is going to be a challenge, but I think we'll figure it out, I'm sure.
I think from the original us originally picking the squad, I only think Austin and Whitman are in the squad because they're both club trained English, right? Yes. It doesn't extend the squad having them in, I think, but I think it's like you can have both of them in or not have either of them in, and you'll still have the same. You might as well check them in.
No,
is that not right?
Well, if we take one of them out, we lose a spot. So then we'd have to replace the other one with another goalkeeper.
Okay. I see.
So because they're the two, I think that's the thing, is that one of the reasons they've been kept around so long, because probably after that long at the club, you would think that they would be looking for more football somewhere else.
Yeah.
it's because that they are part of that contingent that keeps the numbers up for us. And obviously we lost Harry Kane. Yeah. When we start, and Winks, and obviously we've got rid of quite a few English, not few. We've got and Dyer. Although Dyer didn't count as English, did he? He counted as Portuguese, which is that it's really weird when someone who's capped in England doesn't count as English for European leagues. I've always thought that was a bit bizarre, but yeah, I think that'll be something for, I guess, to get in place before the. When's the first game? It's towards the end of January, isn't it? It's the away game first, I think, isn't it? And then the home game's the last game against Elfsborg.
I don't know.
I can hear frantic Googling in the background.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So it's we have Hoffenheim on the 23rd of January away.
Yes. There's 9 matches in January. It's a lot of matches.
A lot of games, right? We've got Tamworth, Arsenal, Everton, Hoffenheim, Leicester at home, of course, and then Elfsborg at home.
The good thing about Elfsborg is that their season finished in November and they don't start again until March. So they won't have played any football for 3 months, and they would hopefully have eaten a lot of pudding over Christmas. So I'm hopeful that our match fitness should be better than theirs. But yeah,
I mean, irrespective of a winter break for them or not, I mean, we much respect to them. We should be winning that game.
We should be winning both of them. But to be honest, it should never have got to this stage if we'd have done all the shoulds up till now, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
We dropped points in games that we shouldn't have dropped points in already. So yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath just yet.
But then saying then, Graham, we beat Man United, we beat Man City, we've now beaten Liverpool.
Yeah,
in half a leg or half a game, but for Carabao. So you never know.
And I actually think that even if we didn't win another game, we would be in the playoffs. I think we've got enough points that we would be in the top 24 teams.
Yeah,
I think we'd have to really struggle not to be in the top 24. But I'd rather we didn't have to play the 2 extra games, obviously, to qualify for the next stage. But I guess we'll see. So, I mean, I suppose I've just looked a bit at our FA Cup history, which is interesting. Obviously, we've won it 8 times, last time in 91. But also, I looked at our FA Cup history since ENIC took over, because I thought that was an interesting look at it. And also the teams that we've lost to when we've gone out. So we've done quarterfinals 3 times, semi-finals 3 times since 2001. So we've been there or thereabouts on a few occasions. There's only been 1 season where we went out in the 3rd round. So we've always played reasonably well in this. But we've gone out to Chelsea 4 times in either the quarter or semi-finals. They just seem to be our bogey team. I seem to remember the last one is the one where he played Son as a wing-back, wasn't it? Anyway, so the last 4 years we've gone out in the 5th round to some pretty average teams, it has to be said. We went out to Norwich, Everton, Middlesbrough, and then Sheffield United last year, or the year before, sorry. So yeah,
we haven't had a good run since Manchester United.
Yeah, the school report could have done better, right?
Yeah, we were at that game, Josh, right?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was maybe the craziest one, right?
When we were at Wembley anyway, and then we went.
Yeah. There was a lot of brawls, as I seem to remember.
There was a lot. It all kicked off after the game on the stairs back down towards Wembley Way, didn't it? It was.
It kicked off before the game. We walked off the tube straight into a man.
Oh yeah, there was a fight
around his face. Well, yeah, it's crazy.
It was pretty tasty,
covered in blood. Cool.
Yeah. So also I looked at some of the other history stuff. Like our top goal scorer in the FA Cup was Jimmy Greaves, unsurprisingly, 32 goals in a 9-year period, which is pretty impressive. The only one that made it into the top 10 of that list were ones probably from modern football. would be Harry Kane on 15, Jermaine Defoe on 15, Shulman Son's on 14, so he could go above them, I guess, at any stage this year. And then Teddy Sheringham on 14 as well. Highest attendance for a FA Cup game was the 67 final against Chelsea. It was 100,000 in attendance at the old Wembley. And then the highest attendance at a White Hart Lane, the old White Hart Lane, probably all standing at the time. It was in 75,000 people, which is nuts when you think about the old stadium capacity was, 36,000?
Is the FA Cup match our highest attendance of all time?
No, I don't think it is. I think there's been others more than that.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I obviously haven't looked at that, but specifically for the FA Cup, that was the highest one. And have a guess who holds the record for the most attendances, FA Cup appearances, as a player for us.
It's Steve Perryman.
It is Steve Perryman. 64 matches.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. And he was at the club from 69 to 86. That's really something, right?
That's a long time, right?
That's a lifetime of football, isn't it? So, yeah. And then after that, it's Mabbott with 54 appearances, Hoddle with 50, Pat Jennings with 48, and Cyril Knowles with 47. So quite a illustrious list, really. So what about a prediction for the game? Josh, what do you think?
I hope... So my prediction is... Well, my hope is that we bench everyone. Actually, I have a segment. I have a small segment. I have looked at our under-23 players and the possibility, a little bit of information about them and the possibility of them starting. Right? So I've gone from who's got the most minutes and in positions that we need. So Tyrese Hall, who has played, who we've seen before in that weird friendly at Newcastle end of last season. QPR and Hearts. Yeah. QPR and Hearts. He plays everywhere on the pitch. I thought he was a double pivot midfielder. Then I saw some other games. He was playing in attacking midfield. He was playing off the left, and he's been playing up front. So he has the joint most goals and assists for in the PL2 for us, with 3 goals, 2 assists. He's played, not including the Derby County game today, he's played every minute of the 9 games. So he could be really handy for us, considering we need a lot of gaps to be filled. The second guy, who I must say has the best name of all time, his name's Dante Casanova. What a name.
I've seen him around for a long time.
What a name.
I wish I had that name. And I think he's second.
You could have asked Graham for it.
Get the poll back out. Yeah, great. The first note is sick name. Centre back. He's a centre back. He's played 9 and started 8. He's frequently the captain. He plays right centre back, and he kind of last start of the season before Alfie Dorrington got taken out of the under-21s and into the main squad. They were bad partnership.
Well, Dorrington.
Yeah.
Well, for a long time.
Yeah. So next one's Dorrington. Obviously, he's been on the bench all the time. He's a centre back. He partnered Phillips last year and Casanova this year. He was a stand-up performer last year. That's kind of when his name came out quite a lot. He's taken out of the under-21 squad, and as of today or yesterday, and just said he will be loaned. So I'm not sure if
that's a surprise given the current situation at the club.
He basically just said, well, he needs game time, so I'm going to loan him out. But I don't know why he doesn't play him. For some reason, I think he could get games. I mean, if you're not playing now, when are you ever going to play?
It's one of those frustrating things, isn't it? But when he had Basuma practicing to be a centre back rather than play Dorrington, I couldn't get my head around that.
You've really got to not trust someone to be in that situation, right?
Yeah, it's a worry.
Crazy. We've got this guy's been on the bench quite a lot since September. His name is, bear with me, Callum Oluzes. Okay, let's start again. Cut that bit out. Okay. Callum Olusesi.
Aloisi.
Maybe.
Yes, he's been on the bench all over the Christmas period, I think.
Yeah.
I noticed him when I looked at the squad number, and I think it's like 79 or something like that.
Yeah,
he's over about 30, and you start wondering whether they've got school the next day.
That's so true. That's so true. But he's in the under 23s. So I think he's a little bit older. He's attacking midfielder. He can play the double pivot. He started 9 of the PL2 games. He's been on the bench a lot this season, and most benches since December. And he's got the joint most goals of anyone in the under 23s with 4. Next guy, Yusuf Akambic, I think it's pronounced. He's a winger / fullback. He also has the joint most combined goals and assists with 4 goals and 1 assist. He scored a hat-trick against Middlesbrough, though, so he did stat pad against Middlesbrough a little bit. And he's played 10, including the Derby County game, and started 9 of them. And Malachi Hardy is an under-18 centre-back that's been on the bench a lot recently, so he may start instead of Casanova, who hasn't been on the bench too much.
So we think we might see a lot of these players at least get benched for the game or something.
Yeah, I'm assuming a lot of these will play at some point. I think a lot of them will get like 2 minutes type situation if we win it.
I think I can see them getting game time if we get a good lead.
Yeah,
I think obviously we need to put the game out of sight first before we'll risk players from bringing players in for their first minutes in the first team.
Yeah, so some of these I don't think will play at all. So I don't think Casanova's going to be on the bench or play, but I did mention him as he is frequently the captain.
Because he's got the coolest name.
And he has the coolest name of all time. And Oluwesi will probably play, I think. I think he'll play.
As you said, he's been on the bench for a lot of the games recently, so there's a good chance that he might.
I think he's the most likely to play, for sure, 100%.
So, okay, thank you. I appreciate the effort you put into that so that we understand a bit more about what's sat behind the current crop of injured and tired people. What about a prediction for the game then, Josh?
Oh, yeah, prediction for the game. Sorry. I went on a really big tangent there.
That was the question I asked some time ago. We've circled back round to it.
It's no longer your birthday. My prediction, I hope, like, we just run through them, doing 5-0. I think we'll rest load of players and it will be a little bit tight, a little bit cagey. They're a big physical team, so I think we're going to end maybe 2-0.
Okay. How about you, Dominic?
What Josh said. No, it was so much. I mean, I said before this pod, I don't know very much about football. I just quite like going for the social. I could never analyse it the way that Josh has just done. I think we'll rest a lot of players. We're going to have to go out there and get through this. It's going to be tough. Downhill pitch, plastic, Staffordshire, long way away.
Tight little ground.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to be so up for it. And good luck to them, right? Good luck to them until they lose, right? So I think we'll do it 3-0, but we'll get a scare. We'll get a scare. So it'll be like
I have a slightly different thought on this, right? So plucky little Tamworth, right? So and I basically want us to absolutely steamroller them about 12-0 for a few reasons. Number one, their kids were singing Tottenham get bad everywhere they go during the draw. So for that reason alone, I want to see a lot of crying kids on the side of the pitch. Next, they charge 42 quid for an away ticket, which is nearly 50% more than the maximum allowed in the Premier League for away tickets. I think that's scandalous. I know they
probably their transfer budget.
Sorry?
That's their transfer budget.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think we're funding them for the next 6 years. so that I didn't think that was particularly fair. So just generally, I wanted to see us do a professional job. I want us to go out there, pick the strongest team possible to start the game, get the game beyond sight, and then rest everyone as much as possible. I want to see as you said, reclining seats. I want to see massages. I want to see people in little oxygen tents. Whatever we need to do, keep everyone safe, ready for the North London derby. Because for me, this is an absolute sideshow. This is a lose-lose situation, right? You can't. If you win, it doesn't matter. If you lose, everything will be made of it. So I really just want us to go out and do a professional job, and not to underestimate them, because we've done that before in the past and we've had issues, right? And I don't want that to happen. Like, I remember the Newport game where we ended up drawing and taking it back to Wembley. What we don't need right now is another unnecessary game because we didn't take it seriously. So yeah, I don't know who will play. We can speculate. We can talk about what changes he may or may not make. I don't think he'll make that many. I think maybe he'll make 2 or 3. But I think probably 5-0 would be my prediction.
Wouldn't want any hope. You've been rattled by the kids of
I have. The kids who feel like they got under my...
I take all of those results, right? All of them will be fine. So.
There's going to be a half-time show. Graham goes on the pitch.
I wish them well after the match, when they're all crying.
Cheers, Graham. Son's crying.
All right. Well, listen. Appreciate your time this evening, Josh and Dominic. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast at Tickle the Algorithm so we can get in front of more Tottenham supporters. And to close us out, come on, you Spurs.
Company Spurs.
Please Spurs.
You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn